What's up, guys? This is Sam Talks About Games, and today I'm going to be talking about what's going on with Metroid Prime 4. Now, just a little catch up. For those of you who don't know, Metroid Prime 4 began development in 2017, rumored to be developed by Bandai Namco, and it got dropped. And in January 2019, they announced a restart of the project at Retro Studios, which is the team that developed Prime 1 through 3. So, where the hell is Prime 4? Well, I feel like Prime 1 Remastered kind of indicates that Prime 4 is relatively close. I do think Prime 4 is going to come out before the end of 2024. It could be a summer game. It could be a late 2024 game. But I do think it's going to be a Switch 2 game. So it all depends when the Switch 2 comes out. And obviously, I think it's going to be cross-gen. I just think the Switch 2 version is going to be much better. It's going to almost look like a remaster. The Switch version should still look pretty good, considering how great Prime Remastered looks. In my opinion, it's the best looking game on Switch. So, Prime 4. It's a peculiar situation because we didn't get Prime 2 and 3 remastered in this past Direct, which is just a strange decision. But I do feel like Prime 4 is still close, and I feel like there's a roadmap, and I'll lay that out. And I'll also give some ideas on how I feel the game will be. So, I think in the next Direct, I'm not going to say it's in February, because I think they're going to announce the Switch 2 in like March. So it would be a little bit strange to have a Direct before the announcement with not a lot to show for Switch. But regardless, the next Direct, whether it's a Switch-focused Direct or Switch and Switch 2, I'm putting my money on the September Direct was the last Switch-focused Direct. So the next Direct, I think is going to have Prime 2 and 3 remastered. They're not going to be fully remastered, but they'll have some touching up to them. It won't be up to scuff to the Prime remastered, but that's alright, because, they can't do everything. So they'll be bundled up for $50 or so. Or they'll be available on their own for $30, say. And they'll call it a day there, and it'll have the physical lighting effects, and it'll look very, very good, and we'll be very happy with it. That's what I think is going to happen. I think whenever that happens, we're going to see Prime 4 get unveiled. We've been hearing things coming out of Tokyo Game Show and the Xbox Era podcast that people are playing Prime 4. And not to mention, earlier this year, we've heard from Nate Bate that Prime 4 was almost finished. So what I'm kind of thinking is that Prime 4 is in the Tears of the Kingdom polish stage, but for Prime 4. And I believe that means that we're within a year of release. So I think the latest it could come out is October 2024. Considering Pokemon's always in November, I don't think they would put a Metroid game in November. October seems like a perfect time, especially if it has more horror elements like Metroid Dread. That could be very cool. Furthermore, beyond the release timing and all that, I just want to talk a little bit about what I'm expecting from the game and what I think it's going to be like. So, as I said, the Xbox Era podcast has talked about Metroid Prime 4, and they've said it feels big and open and all that. And I think that should be pretty accurate, but I think people are getting the wrong idea from that. I don't think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be open world, but I do think there's going to be a big open hub area or something like that. Maybe similar to Star Wars Jedi Survivor, that you branch off from. So maybe there's 5 pathways, say, in the area, and they lead to their different regions. You can't go in all of them at once, but once you're done with the one pathway, you start finding connections to the next area. You also unlock an item that you use in that hub to go in that area from there. So it all feels like interconnected, almost like how Firelink Shrine feels in Dark Souls Remastered. It's very connected to a lot of areas, so I feel like that's how they could do it, while still the game being open, but it's still feeling like Metroid. Because Metroid kind of goes against the grain of being open world. There's locked pathways that you need a key to unlock, essentially. And that key is an ability or item or such. So I don't think Metroid Prime 4 is going to be open world in any universe, because that would go against Metroid. What else do I think the game's going to have, though? I just think it's going to be a very, very modern version of Metroid Prime. It's going to have atmospheric areas, nice bosses, maybe the movement's going to be upscaled a little bit. Maybe there's going to be mantling and such. I feel like they're going to do a lot to modernize Metroid. Prime 3 already started doing some stuff, but, that was back on the Wii, so that was still a while ago. And I feel like we're going to be on one planet this time. I want the game to focus on, or if it's going to have multiple planets, to be in depth with them, but preferably I'd prefer for the game to focus on one planet, because it offers for a higher level of interconnectedness. For example, I just recently played Starfield, and although I liked the game, it felt very segmented. In a way, it felt like the least open world Bethesda game of all time. It's kind of sad that it felt that way, but yeah, I still liked the game, I did like Starfield. I just think it was probably one of their weaker efforts. And I don't want Prime 4 to feel like that. I think one planet, or maybe 2 or 3 planets, that's good. You don't need any more. So you can focus on the detail and all that in the planet. Unlike Starfield, which kind of focused a lot on the spectacle of the game and there being X amount of planets. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Prime 4, and I'm very, very excited for the game to see what's next for Metroid. And I think it's going to be cross-gen on Switch and Switch 2, so I think we'll see this game when Switch 2 gets unveiled, or when Prime 2 and 3 get released. And that's my prediction. That's about it.